And just give me a moment to set the energy. All right, Jen, I'm going to have you kind of be the point person. Would you be so kind as to say the name of the inn a few times for me?
Cat and the Fiddle Inn, the Cat and the Fiddle Inn, the Cat and the Fiddle Inn.
Thank you. So there's a few things I immediately see before I'm going to ask any further information. First thing I see is there's a lot of competing energies in the space. And one goal I'm going to have for today is to help bring it so that Jen, you, and whether it's the whole family or you and your husband, as the owners or proprietors, are at the senior of all of these competing energies. Because right now it looks like there's various energies that want to be quote unquote in charge. The second thing I see is there's a lot of discordant energy that kind of looks like a weave and a weft that's gone wrong a few different times or gotten quite enmeshed. And so this, a second goal I will personally have will be to just start to bring energies into an alignment so that moving forward, whether you choose to keep it in a haunted space or choose to bring it into a more grounded space, it's reflective of what the desire from everyone is, as well as in alignment with the energy of both the inn itself and the land. As a color, the inn is even uncomfortable with having like a single color for it. So I'm going to give a couple colors that I see it at. There's a really bright orange, and that looks like the entity of the inn. So most homes, hotels, well, not all hotels, like not the Hilton, but like boutique hotels, have entities that either become developed over time or it's a spirit that sees the vibration of that space and really wants to kind of be in that space. And so the first color I see is the orange. And so that orange is going to be what I predominantly connect with. And when I talk about the entity of the inn, that's going to be what I'm talking about. On top of that orange is this light purple. And this looks like old energy, past owners, past people that have stayed there, even some energy before this was a structure on the land. And it's very heavy and it's very, it obscures a lot of clarity between y'all as proprietors and the entity of the inn. So definitely going to want to move that out. And then there's also these yellow dots, and I think these might be the spirits that you all have had communication with, that come in and want to be at the center of the story. And so as we go through, if there are instances that you'll want to share, we can look at it. I know you mentioned two separate ghosts, so we can kind of look at them as well. Questions about that? Or what?
No, but that makes sense because originally the house, the basement was the canal barn, was the mule barn for the canalers. So that is probably, that's like 1885 at least. Um, then what we understand is the inn was built on top of that foundation around 1930. And it's been a lot of things. It's been a restaurant, it's been an inn, it's been an ice cream parlor. Now it's just our home, but it has been a lot of things over the years. So that's probably why you're seeing so many different timelines and energies, because it's been a lot of different things over the years.
Now, are you restoring it to become an inn or is it staying in the family home?
It's just our house.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Okay, that's really helpful to know because that'll help how I set the energies as we go through. Okay, can we start with just getting like a general outline or walkthrough? I know you just said that there was a basement at one time was
Mhm.
different. What does the structure itself look like?
If we Do you want to start in the basement or and go up, or how do you want?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so
Like,
it's the
go up.
oldest. The basement is ground level and it's really large. It's about 2,000 square feet. And
Oh
we joke
gosh.
that it's the basement of 100 doors because um, it's being quartered off so that it's much more usable. So there's a lot of storage down there. At one point, the restrooms for the inn, so we have a men's room and a women's room and a shower is part of a separate section. There's another section that's Marty's. It was like it's his, the larger space, like when you first walk in. If you were to turn right down a little hallway, there's like the old office for the inn, or it just says office on the little rooms. And then there's another little storage room under the stairs, another door. And then you keep going and there's another door outside, or you turn left and that's where the oldest part of the basement is. It's still exposed. It's a bank barn, so it has the exposed stone along it, and you can see the remnants of the mule barn in that section. If we continue from that back section through the next door, we joke it's the murder room. It was probably the original spring house of some sort, so that the dumbwaiter that's in the kitchen does go down to that section, but it's really wet and creepy, so we don't go in that room. And cold. If you come out of that room, you can go left or straight or right. We'll go straight because that's another room with another door, and that's like a workshop. If we go back towards the murder room and turn right, there's another door. We go through that door and we call that the shed. That's also has access to the yard. And then we think at one point it had stairs that maybe would have been able to access to the ground, the upper area, because the land is tiered, it's leveled. So there's no direct access from the upper part of the house to the backyard. I know that's a lot of doors. So you ready to move into the main house? So
go ahead.
If we go up the stairs near the restrooms, that's the main entrance from the basement up to the house. And if we turn left, that's what we call our living room, and that was the main structure of the house originally. That's the oldest section. If we continue just where you walk up the space, it's just another room. It's kind of like it's another living space that has our pantry and washer and dryer. But behind us is a huge screen-in porch, and that was we think that was the ice cream shop. And there's a telephone booth there, and we call it the museum, as all the memorabilia for the years for the inn. And then so if we turn around and we go again straight, we go through another set of doors, and that's the kitchen. From the kitchen, you have two door options. One is the front door, and the other option is the door back into the main living area in the original structure of the house. From there, we have one staircase that goes upstairs. Oh, we have a bathroom downstairs too, but we go upstairs. There are 5 bedrooms upstairs and 1 full bathroom. The addition to the home, there's 2 bedrooms on the back side of the house. The one that we use as our bedroom has a really large enclosed porch, and that's where I heard the one voice come through. So I think that's it. Did I miss anything? That's the house.
Yeah.
Oh, in the attic. We have an attic.
So we have the basement, first floor, which is like living communal
Living
space.
space. Mhm.
Second floor is bedrooms,
Yes.
and then we have an attic.
Yes.
Right.
So the first place I'm immediately called to is the basement, and it is both the murder room and the mule barn, you said?
And what was the second one?
Mule barn?
The
Oh,
mule
mule-
barn?
Okay, yeah.
So interesting that you guys call it a murder room.
It looks like it.
It's creepy.
It energetically
Well,
looks
it's
like
like
it.
big enough to fit a body in.
And
With,
it's,
on a
it's
table.
small.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's like
small,
it's
yeah.
yeah, it's like a table.
It's like 3.5 feet wide, like 10 feet long.
I hear what she says.
So the energy kind of flows from the mule barn into the murder room, and it looks as though at one point it was used as a punishment room. It was used as
God.
like, I don't want to say like a solitary confinement idea, but it's what it looks like. And there's a lot of pain, and there's an energy in there that I'm inviting to take its next step that is very likely what makes it so cold, because the cold looks like it's both temperature, but also like energy can make you feel cold, and it looks like
You
it's
don't want to go in that room. Like, do you feel that energy when you open the door? You don't want to go in that room. You
I
really
don't
just
even want to look at it as
we call it the murder room for a reason.
You're
People
right.
look in from the
Like,
outside.
yeah. So I'm just helping that spirit that's very stuck there. It looks like at one point there was probably slaves or indentured servitude on in this space, and it looks like this room was used for punishment for that type of work, as well as it looks like if there was ever stable boys or something of that nature. It just looks like a very punishing room. I don't necessarily see that anybody was killed per se, but the pain and trauma of being isolated and removed from light and removed from fresh air and to not really have freedom really compounds the heavy energy. And then there is this spirit that is very stuck in that room. It's a male energy. It's probably stepped out of his body or died in his early 20s, and he's very attached to that room because it looks like at one point he spent a lot of time in that room. I also suspect that this individual was probably not as mentally capable and or had some mental things going on that socially wasn't really accepted and kind of an outlier in the community. And so when I invite him to take his next step, he's very hesitant to. He's going to, because he's not going to have a choice. But this has been comfortable for him for over 100 years, if not a little bit longer. Also in that area, like coming back to the mule barn part with the murder room, there's some energy about 12 feet underground that is dead. And what I mean by that is when I give the land a hello in that part of the land that you own or that this property is on, there's no response whatsoever. And it looks like prior to this structure being here, that particular area might have been used for very specific types of ritual that would have made it hard for anything to grow there and made it hard for anybody to even want to stand there. So I suspect even prior to the structure, that area was kind of cold. Now, separate from the entity of the home, land holds what are called elemental energies or energies that are connected to different parts of land masses. And so I'm just inviting the local elemental energy to kind of come and help revive that so that that dead spot doesn't stay and that the land can actually heal itself right there and bugs can come back in and do what things do 6 to 12 feet under the ground. I'm also inviting into the murder room. I love that you guys have named these rooms, by the way. It's so much easier. It's also easier to see it because I can tap into how each of you see the rooms. I'm also inviting that room just to come to a neutral gold so that perhaps not everybody is too squeamish to walk in there or like you shut the door, you forget that that room exists. Because it almost looks like if you gave someone a tour of the house and that door was shut, you wouldn't even think to open the door. Like it would just be an.
You don't want to open the door. Like we leave it closed for a reason. I would never leave that door open. I would never leave that door open. It's creepy in there.
And if you wanted to start to play with the energy or see how much you could create change, I would encourage you to put flowers in there, locally grown flowers, either from your property or whatever's native to your area, because it looks like putting something that was alive and still has life in it will also help start to change the energy in there. You don't have to. That can just be the room no one goes into. Like you don't have to change it. Any questions about that or what I've shared so far?
It's fascinating. It's fascinating. I'm wondering if the guy that you're talking about is the one that I feel I can't say. Sometimes I feel like I see the outline of him a little bit, but I feel him a little bit. And I always said that I felt like he was like a canaler, like a younger man, tall, and but he was around like in the canal time or before that. So I'm wondering if that's who I'm gonna
No,
say Steve.
that one's different.
Oh, good
Yeah,
Lord.
where is that experience that you have that you feel that lurking energy the most?
I'm sorry, say again.
Where in the home do you feel that lurking?
Originally, it was in the phone booth on the first floor, and it creeped me out. Like I got the sage, I smudged the crap out. I'm like, oh, thank you, please go away. I'm releasing you, and all the that really creeped me out. And I wasn't sure if I was really like seeing something. I would say that I would see something in like kind of the corner of my eye, but there's windows, so it like I don't know that it's not my reflection, but it was enough that
it's not your reflection. It's
I'm not crazy.
And like if you don't believe me, I have head to toe chills, and like that's an indication that my body is like, you are saying very truthful things. It's not, you're not making this up.
I said it was her reflection.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm going to counter and say it's not her reflection. Is there another place that you started to feel it once you smudged the phone booth?
In our bedroom. I've seen him a few times. That it's like he moved upstairs in our bedroom.
And is your bedroom directly above that phone booth?
No.
Mine.
Do you feel anything there?
No.
Our other
Actually, it might be Maddie's.
Our other daughter, but she isn't here very often. So if he did move up, I'll ask her when she wakes up.
So what I see for that energy, I do see like a younger man in his 20s, and it looks like he was very invested in the property and probably either had part ownership or was like the son of the owners of the property. And so the energy that he kind of throws out is, you don't belong here, this is mine. He is very much what I would call a ghost, with a ghost being a spirit that's gotten very stuck and connected to a physical entity. His color is, and the previous one that was in the murder room has been moved out, by the way. That,
Thank you.
that thing is gone.
Is he blue? Is this one? Is he like blue gray?
I would put him at more like a soft blue, but like blue gray would work. Yeah, yeah. Is that the color you typically see?
Yeah, that's kind of that's. I can't say I saw it. I could say like if you could
You know
feel
it's
a
there.
color. If you could feel a color, that would be the color I would associate.
Yeah. I love that you can feel colors. That makes my heart sing. So what I see with this one is he keeps trying to reestablish his seniority and his ownership of this space. And he shows up with you, Jen, because he's working from a picture that men are superior to women, and I'm going to make an assumption that your household does not agree to that particular thinking, that perhaps maybe everybody's equal. And so he focuses on you in an effort to freak you out so that you'll leave. And what it looks like he does is, previously it looks like he would kind of patrol, not necessarily the entire property line and not even around the inn itself, maybe more the screened-in porch and the museum. But what it looks like he is doing now is he kind of like, he flashes or like pops in and out of different spaces. And upstairs in your bedroom, he's attracted to that because that's a place of vulnerability. And so he thinks that if he scares you enough, you and your family will vacate. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show him that he is quite stuck and help him take his next step so that you don't keep feeling it. Do you also sometimes get the sense, or does anybody in the house get the sense that someone's watching them?
For him, I do.
At night.
Do you?
It's creepy at night.
Well, yeah, her bedroom's kind of above that space.
Okay, we'll look at your bedroom in a moment. Let me just move him. So essentially what I'm doing with both of these spirits that are super stuck is I'm working with what I call the supreme being, and kind of showing them what happens if they don't vacate, which is not, basically if they choose not to go, then all their karma that they've ever had and all the lifetimes they've ever had get completely erased. And so most spirits don't want to start back over from ground zero. He's a little bit more stubborn. So let me just, yeah, it's like a legacy picture that he's connected to. It looks like his ancestors potentially, not necessarily like in a genealogy way, but an energetic ancestry, had lived on this land at some point prior to the establishment of the inn, or it being the canal workers, etc. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna have the supreme being work on that. We're gonna multitask. Okay, and it's Emma, right?
Yes.
Okay, tell me a little bit about your room and what you experience.
My room is just, if you go up the stairs, it's right backward, and I have like a double door. It's a pretty big room.
It's on the street.
It is on the street. I get flashed at night, like with the
Car lights.
Oh, the car lights, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's above. It's the back of the house, like not far from the
Actually, I don't think that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, her room is one of the original. When I say it was the original structure, her bedroom is one of the original bedrooms of the structure.
I do hear things in my walls. I'm assuming they're
probably real.
With 4 legs and fur.
I don't like that.
I think I do better when I think it's just energy. And then what's the sense you typically have in your room? Is it that you're being watched, or that there's something else there?
It just feels like something else is there. I use my flashlight a lot because I just assume that it's the cats or like a mouse or something. So that's mostly, I feel like I'm being watched and I'm by myself downstairs and like looking outside.
Okay.
It's so dark you can't see anything, and it's
Yeah.
so creepy.
Do you have like plug-in nightlights in your room?
No.
If you are open to that, that looks like it could be very helpful to create a stronger boundary. So what I'm doing with your bedroom right now, and what I'm doing with each individual room, but I'll talk about it when it's relevant, is giving each room its own bubble and then putting an energetic symbol on the edge to kind of ward off things that don't belong in that room. And in your room, there's a few energies that are moving. One, it looks like there's an older woman. It's like a Victorian era woman, and I just keep seeing her sitting in front of a mirror, like brushing her hair. And it looks like it's near the window. I don't know if there's space.
Oh,
there.
it is.
Yeah. And her energy, it's very commanding and at times very punishing. And I don't see that it interacts with you a lot, but it does prevent you from accessing your creative energy. So if you're trying to work on a project, or you're working on an art thing, or you're trying to like recreate a TikTok, her energy will get between you and accessing that creative energy. And so I'm moving her out of your space. The other energy I see that is interested in you is a young boy energy. And I think this might be sometimes what you feel when you're downstairs in the more communal spaces. Probably like 8 or 9 years old, looks like he died on the property. And he's just like fascinated and doesn't know how to interact with you, but looks at you and like wants your attention. And so I am showing him that that's not an appropriate way to try to connect. And he's not as stuck. It looks like he kind of comes in, hangs out for a bit, and then goes off and does what spirits do in between lives, and then he'll kind of come back around. But you're very bright as a spirit, and he's very fascinated by your light. And so he's constantly trying to communicate with you. So if you ever feel like something's poking you, or like trying to tickle you, or do like what little boys would do, it's very likely his energy just trying to be like, notice me, I'm here, see me. And then just saying hello to the structure in your room, but the structure of the whole building as well. Are there known mice in the walls and that kind of thing, or is it just an assumption?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
We moved in, we had 3 flying squirrels. It's like a partridge in a pear tree. We moved in, we had 3 flying squirrels,
That was something.
some mice. We just had thank God we have cats, because they caught a rat.
Ugh.
It was so.
But we
it's
all-
a mammal. That's
But we
like
have
an animal.
2 cats, we have a dog. So we have a lot. We got a lot of our own that we brought with us. But there's a lot running around.
And
in
it's
general.
easy to get in from from the outside to the basement.
Y'all are real brave. Okay.
Yeah, last year had cats too.
A real brave. I'm gonna have one of my guides work with your animals as well, just to kind of add a layer of protection in there. I'm just watching the structure, and I will also just invite the invited animals to kind of leave. I don't know.
That would be amazing.
I'd love
I
it.
don't know how effective it'll be, but like I
In the
will show them they could go somewhere else.
Is the woman, I know I don't want to interrupt you.
No, go.
That's really important to get rid of the mic.
Yeah.
Is the woman brushing her hair? Marty and I, 2 separate times, neither one of when we heard the female talking, the other one of us was not home. Is that the same person?
Yes, it does look like it. It looks like she kind of had a staff at one point and like had command, like
That is hilarious.
I'm sorry?
She says, come here. And I thought she was like trying to talk to my dog, like steal my animals.
Yeah.
But if she had staff and she's bossy,
Yeah.
it's the staff she's trying to boss her. Or I guess we're her staff now.
Well, I'm moving her out so that she
Thank you. She is creepy.
the little boy energy doesn't look malicious or problematic. And like I just showed the boundary of like you don't get to do these things when it's dark out, because when it's dark out, humans are much more scared. But if you want to like be playful during the daytime and it looks like everyone in the home is okay with you being playful, like that's kind of the limit I put on her. With her, she's going. Like the 2 and the women are all going. And the other thing I want to offer or want to say, because I'm also just cognizant of time, a few things. One, I've given permission for the orange entity of the home to start to come from the land up. It's more associated with the land. So this would be an inherited entity that like the structure was built and the entity was like, yeah, I'll stay here and like govern this home. So, and it's a more masculine energy than feminine. And so his energy is like starting to come up in the basement, and he has permission to go all the way up to the attic. And I've asked him if he would like to have a guide that kind of does a sentry walk around the property line. And it looks like he does. So I'm also inviting in a spirit guide. Y'all don't have to do a single thing with this. It vibrates at like a turquoise, and it's a male, and he'll oftentimes show up as like looking like a sentry, a samurai, or an Aztec warrior, but it'll be that type of energy. And the only thing he's going to do is just walk the perimeter and kind of be in communication with the entity of the home to keep things how we are setting them right now, and be attuned to what the family wants, so that y'all have some power to say, like, we noticed this new thing is happening and we don't want this here. Can you help? And so that y'all have another layer of protection. Now, if you want to communicate with the entity of the home or with this sentry, you can always have conversations with them when you're smudging or saging. You can always ask for their support, as well as your version of God or whoever you work with. If you are people that enjoy ritual, you can always create a little altar of thank you and gratitude, but you don't have to do any of that. That's more like the way the humans are like, we have to compensate something. The sentry is going to get something out of this as well. Questions about that?
That's amazing. Any questions? Maddie, do you have any creepiness in your room, or are you good? Oh, her room, the guy closed the door on me and then opened it up. Was that
That was the blueberry guy. Yeah.
That was a great guy. He's not, I'm glad she's not around anymore.
Yeah, no, he's gone. He's gone, but that was him. Yeah. It's interesting because it takes a lot of energy to physically move things on our plane, but it doesn't take much energy to physically interact with us. And I'm not sure why, but like getting a spirit to like move a cup, that takes a lot, but getting them to like push you doesn't take anything. It's really bizarre to me.
How about the porch unlocker?
Well, it's the same guy. I assume he's the kind of mischievous one, because it's in that area. I would assume, like, he unlocks doors. I'm assuming that's the same guy.
He would have opened my door just now while I accidentally fell asleep. So I closed the door when I went to sleep, wide open.
She's awake now.
This is the joy of doing energy work in real time with someone in the home that's not in the reading. They get to experience it in a different way. Yes, it all looks like the same being.
Yeah. Okay.
Which we've moved out.
Hallelujah. This has been amazing and so much fun.
Good. I'm glad. I feel like there's one thing we haven't addressed yet. Does someone have something they haven't spoken up about, or that I have not captured?
Communicate ghost.
Oh.
Can we ask about our energies? What are our energies?
Oh yeah. Since we can't ask future, we definitely need a good finance. We need a good 2025 or going forward. Not saying like I gotta act on it, but
as a family, your family system vibrates in present time at like a deep purple, with obviously parents at the center. And one thing I just want to say hello to and validate is y'all have kept your relationship at the center and haven't allowed being parents to come to the center of the relationship, which means when your kids are out of the house, you'll still have a strong relationship. So good job. I work with a lot of families and kids, so like I've seen a lot of different family systems. Emma, go ahead and say your full name for me a couple times, including any middle names.
Emma Grace Grigorski. Emma Grace Grigorski. Emma Grace Grigorski.
Thank you. Your color today is like a really soft green. It's like an Ariel Little Mermaid green. And aside from your enthusiasm about like getting some communication, what I will offer you is, with your parents' permission, if you choose to work with like a pendulum or a spirit board or cards of some sort, you could easily start to interact with some of the energies that are around, and that might bring some comfort and seniority into your space, again, with your parents' permission. Everybody feels a little bit differently.
Good one.
And then just saying hello to kind of your excitement that we're at the end of the year. I don't know if you're already on break or about to be on break. There's just this enthusiasm of kind of getting some rest, but also it looks like you're starting to open up some deep lines of creativity in your space.
Maddie, do you have any questions? Do you want to say your name real quick?
Can I say my name?
Why don't you come over here?
Come on over, Matt, so I can hear you.
We're almost at time, so.
Hi, sorry, I fell asleep earlier.
That's okay. You're a growing body, so go ahead and say your name a couple times, including any middle names.
Madeline Elizabeth Gregorski, Madeline Elizabeth Gregorski, Madeline Elizabeth Gregorski.
And then you go by Maddie.
Mhm.
Therefore, I apologize for Madison. Your color this afternoon is like a really bright orange, and I am also just going to work with one of your spirit guides to help kind of expedite the replenishment that you're seeking right now, because it looks like you've been going pretty like 100% for a while, and part of the nap is just trying to reset your energetic system as well as probably your physical system. And then also saying hello to some light blue that you're separating from. It looks like a falling out with like a friend or a partner of some sort. And you are holding this picture that it's you're fine, and like this person's going to come back around, and you're really with this particular individual, it just looks like you want them to see you in present time and to not keep trying to hold you to a different image of yourself. And it looks like that will rewrite itself. It might take a little bit of time, but it does look like it'll rewrite itself, assuming no energies change, no guaranteed outcomes.
Could you do me real quick?
Yeah, go for it. Full
So
name.
I'm Jennifer Lee Gregorski. Jennifer Lee Gregorski. Jennifer Lee Gregorski.
And then you go by Jen.
Yeah.
Your color this afternoon is like a really bright magenta, and honestly kind of similar to Emma. If you decide you want to lean a little bit more into your intuitive skill set, for you, pendulum actually looks like it would be a really strong tool for you, and you don't actually have to buy a pendulum. You can use like a necklace or even a piece of string. As I say hello to you, I'm moving out some what I will term grief energy. It's more generalized. It's not like this specific thing happened and you're in grief about it. It looks more like a culmination of paths you didn't take this lifetime, just kind of getting ready to let it all go, having a big purge. Also looks like you're unmatching from some of your mom's energy and some of your family of origin energy as you really continue to validate who you are, how you're showing up in the world, how you're being a wife, how you're being a parent, how you're being an individual. And when you talk about, 2025, the way you have already set your 2025, there are anchor points in each of the months already for you. And what you might do or play with is see if there's a color that represents each month. But what I see is like the vibration you've set for 2025 is easefulness. Now that doesn't mean problems and no challenges. It just means that you're navigating it much more easily than maybe 2024 was for literally anybody.
That would be amazing.
But like in general.
It's a rough year. Not too rough, but That was so much fun.
Cool.
Do you have anything, Marty? You
Nope,
good?
I'm good.
He said I'm spiritually awesome,
Yeah,
and I'm ready.
I gave him a hello. I see where this is like the edge of comfort, and that's totally fine. I respect that. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill each person with a gold sun, which is their own energy coming back, as well as each animal that is under your guardianship, so not necessarily the mice, and then also giving the home itself like its own giant gold sun. And I wouldn't say there's anything anybody has to do. If you felt called to smudge or to use sound bowls, actually I'll mention that part in a minute. Hold on, let me just finish filling everyone and call that the reading and healing. If you feel called to smudge in the next few days, by all means do it. If you really want to play with the murder room, like if the creepiness vibe has been like backed down at all, you might put like, and if you have an old iPod or something, you might put music in there that's either Tibetan singing bowls or like crystal singing bowls or something. You could also do dry smudging where like you just leave like rosemary, lavender, and sage if you use sage or Palo Santo in there. You don't have to have it lit. I personally, like if I lived near you guys, I would be like, can I come over and play in this room? Because I want to see how effective I can be like
Where are you?
I'm in California.
That's where I'm from.
Listen, it's a reason to come east.
It is. I mean, I went to grad school on the East Coast. So like I lived in I went to Rutgers, Camden. So I was on the other side of Philly.
Oh, I work right near them. Wait, listen, anytime you're on the East Coast, come by the inn. We're so happy to have you.
come do a little energy work. And then over the next few days, if y'all notice anything, don't hesitate to email me and be like, hey, after that, we actually had an uptick of doors opening and we actually like heard crazy sounds. Like just email me and I'll take a look. Cause
Okay.
sometimes we get one layer and it opens up a can of worms. Other times we get one layer and like it's really good for a period of time. I have one client whose family owned a farm. I want to say it's in the Midwest somewhere. And there's only one time in my life that I've ever actually said something looked like a demon, and it was in their home. And I was doing a house healing, and they have a daughter who had gotten a mirror, and it came with the mirror, and it was like shoving them down the stairs. It was actually kind of scary in all honesty. And after we did that one, it was actually really effective, but I've done a few house healings for them. So just know, like, if this doesn't feel complete, like, don't hesitate to like ask for more.
All right. Sorry about our dog. She needs her own energy healing today. She's been terrible.
I did have one of my animal guides work with the dog and the cat. So hopefully they either start helping and carrying their own weight or settle down a little bit. So.
She's a bulldog, and the trainer's like, she's useless.
Oh, good.
I need to say that.
Love that.
Love that.
She's got the looks.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I will email over the recording. Like I said, I'll email over both the video and the audio. And again, anything comes up, feel free to email me.
Thank you. Happy holidays and a
Yes.
great new year.
Y'all have a great holiday. Awesome. Bye.